minute out from starting, so we have some time to connect. So the networking begins now, everyone. I would love for you to pop in the chat why you have decided to hop onto this call today. Like, what is your reason for showing up? I'm sure it's not just to see Bill and I. What are you hoping to gain from this session, this time with us today? I'd love for you to pop that into the chat. As we continue to let individuals into the room. Hi, Brian. Looking for something new. Sounds good to me. Yes. It's time to update. Sometimes it's just time to spruce up things. I have a lot of people who said to me, LinkedIn, what? I have an account. I haven't used it in years. And then to my dismay, I start to download as much as I can. How to present my brand or myself well. Thank you, Charnel. Yes. Or even better, maybe you're doing an okay job, but maybe there's a better way that you can do that. Brand building for your organization. Thank you so much, Bonnie, for saying that as an entrepreneur, that is critical in order for you to connect with other businesses as well and to find your ideal client. You know, I look at a lot of organizations, LinkedIn, and Bill, this is an opportunity for you because you look at it and it is stale, right? It is very stale. It needs some refresh and just some ways to get people to start coming and interacting with them. Hi, Amali, for networking. Honestly, open to growing and learning new things. You're in the right room. So I always say this is like an airplane. When you get on a flight, they're saying to you, this is the flight to Bermuda. If this is not the flight, then you need to disembark immediately. So if you're in this room because you're interested in finding about how to use LinkedIn as a resource that will support your brand, that will support your networking or to find new opportunities, then you are in the right room. If not, then you'll have to exit stage left. Career shifter, seeking to get a feel on how to present myself as a brand. Thank you very much. Awesome. All right. We're going to attach a document into the chat. And that document is yours. That document is a fillable document. And I really, really want you to use it as a personalized worksheet for yourself. And so we're going to attach that. Let me see if I can do it from where I am. No, I can't. So I'll have my assistant attach that. Okay. Brian, thanks for popping in your LinkedIn address as well, your LinkedIn there as well. All right. So we're going to get started. My assistant hopefully will pop that document in the next minute or so. So thank you so much for giving us your time and for investing in yourself whether you're an individual or whether you're an organization, whether you're a professional work for an organization, or even an entrepreneur like myself that leverages the platform of LinkedIn in order to gain new opportunities and to interact with your ideal clients. Thank you for being here. So a little bit about the Huddle. Actually, this month marks exactly 2 years since the Huddle was formed, and it was formed primarily as an online platform for our younger Gen Z early careerists. But the honest truth is that the topics that we choose tend to be of concern for everyone, regardless of the age group. So we've done a little bit of rebranding, and now the Huddle is essentially a platform for the multi-generational workplace. We have about 5 generations working in today's workplace, and we all have to learn the tools and we have to develop the skills in order to thrive in a multi-generational and hybrid workplace environment, whether you're an entrepreneur or a professional working for an organization. There's a little bit about myself on the screen. I'm the CEO of Clarendon Wallace and the host of the Huddle, which is a free platform. We really tackle trending topics and areas that you tell us that you need discussion about or need more information about. My job is to go out and search my network and to find individuals like our guest today, that I consider to be an expert. So if I'm not the expert, I find an expert, and we have a really good conversation about the topic, and really make sure that you're getting some really good information that you can take away. So Bill, if you can introduce yourself, that would be great.
Hi, everyone. I'm Bill McCormick. I'm the founder of a company called DigiSales, also newly DigiSales Academy. And I've been working with folks in Bermuda since 2013. So just coming up on our 11th year. My wife and I own a print and promotional products company. And my wife has worked with people on islands since the early 2000s. And so when we started our own company, LinkedIn was where we found the people we could do business with. My wife left another company, so suddenly they didn't have her email address, and we scheduled our first trip to Bermuda in July of 2013, August 2013. And that's how she scheduled her meetings, was she found people on LinkedIn, and that's how she could connect with them. And we suddenly realized that was how we could grow that business. I was able to grow that business and leave a full-time job and start working full-time with her. And then folks started asking me, hey, how are you using LinkedIn? And I was able to transfer into a LinkedIn training business. It's interesting. One of the times I was in Bermuda, I read this article in the Royal Gazette about this reinsurance executive named Lorene who had left the reinsurance space. And in the article, she talked about her faith in God, which I have faith in God too, which caused me to find Lorene on LinkedIn, and we connected, and we just began to develop a relationship to the point where now I stayed with her and her husband, Eugene. I did training for her husband, Eugene's company back in a year ago, just a year ago, like last week. And so we developed this relationship. And what's happened is this change has happened in the world now that we've got this virtual space where we can now connect with people virtually and develop and build relationships that never would have happened 5 or 10 or 15 years ago. We would never connect with someone and go stay with them that we had never met in person. But now, because we've got this virtual space, we're now able to connect more easily with people. And LinkedIn ends up being a place where people can find out about you. And, I've been training folks how to leverage and use LinkedIn since about 2017. I've done a lot of work on island, not only paid work for companies, but I also do all the volunteer training of LinkedIn for the Ignite Accelerator Hub cohorts. And I've done some stuff for Bermuda College, and just recently did a webinar for the Nonprofit Alliance of Bermuda. It's easy for me to say. So, Lorene, I'm really excited to be here and to talk about how we can better leverage LinkedIn in our networking.
Thank you so much, Bill. And I actually met Bill in Bermuda at a training event at Butterfield when I just returned to the island in 2020, early part of 2020 or end of 2019. It was just before the pandemic. And we connected, and I knew right away that I needed to get my LinkedIn sorted out because, frankly, Bill, I think up until that point, I hadn't really used LinkedIn. If anyone go back at my history, you will notice that my LinkedIn activity started in January of 2020 was when I actually reactivated my LinkedIn and started to engage with it. And my, how life has changed. Okay, so everyone, I want you really to make sure that you're focused, that you're fully present. I want to make sure that you've turned your phone off. You are going to focus. You're going to be taking notes. Everyone should have a copy of the workbook sheet. It's like a card and it's fillable. Please pull that up. As we go through the material, I want you to use that again to capture the information that you're looking for. All right, so let's begin. So we know that 70% of jobs are found through networking. And I tell my clients this a lot around making sure that you are building your network so that when the time comes, you can find that job, and not to try and build your network when you need to find that job. So we want to get ahead of the mark, ahead of the curve, and make sure that we have those really nice relationships and that we are getting ready to develop them so that they can serve us right away. So some interesting facts about LinkedIn. I'm looking over here at my document because I was so fascinated. So LinkedIn was launched in 2003. So if there are any entrepreneurs on the line, it was launched by a group of entrepreneurs who wanted to create an online platform for like-minded people to connect. And in 2016, it was bought out by Microsoft. So for over 2 billion or thereabouts. So it has grown quite a bit since 2003. So it's about just over 20 years old. So LinkedIn has been around for a while. There's over 1 billion users on LinkedIn. And apparently, more males than female use LinkedIn. About 50, almost 57% of men of the profile of the people on LinkedIn are male, and the remainder are female. So ladies, we got some work to do. About 75% of those who have recently changed jobs indicate that they use LinkedIn to find new opportunities. And Bill, every minute, about 6 people are hired on LinkedIn. So with all that data that is so compelling, and we were talking earlier as we were preparing for this session, that about 48,000 people at one point have registered their location on LinkedIn as being in Bermuda, right? So in Bermuda, when you look at a population size of probably just over 62,000 or thereabout 63,000, that's a significant amount, right? We know there's a large expatriate community, so people come and people go. But what I can tell you is that, or what this is telling us, is that there's a significant amount of people in Bermuda that are on LinkedIn. So I'm going to start off with my first question. What are some of the key elements of your LinkedIn profile that really would set you apart from others?
So great question. So you mentioned Microsoft. It was $26.2 billion that they purchased LinkedIn for. And so it's not going anywhere.
Thank you.
Yeah, so that's a lot of money. But here's the thing. They purchased it in 2016. In 2018, LinkedIn's revenue for them was just over 5.5 billion. This past year, 2023, the revenue was 15.3 billion. So it's tripled. So LinkedIn's making money. It's not going anywhere. So that's the first thing you need to know. The second thing is we talk about the important parts of your profile really have to do with why you're on LinkedIn, because LinkedIn isn't just one social media site, right? It's basically, you could break it down many different ways, but I break it down basically into 3, okay, for our sake today. It's a job seeking and recruiting site, right? And that is how it was started. It was started where recruiters could link in with companies, LinkedIn, right, to find candidates and for people to look for jobs. And so I know many people have said in the chat that that's what they're looking for, and we'll talk about that. So there's that reason. The second reason is to market yourself and your company. Somebody, I think was Bonnie, who I know, hi Bonnie, who said about marketing their organization, right? But you also market yourself. And then the third thing is it's a sales and business development and networking platform. That's what I train mainly. I train people how to leverage the platform to meet the people you want to meet. And from a job seeking point of view, it's no different. You're selling yourself. You don't have a product or service. You're selling yourself. And so by networking, the power of LinkedIn is you could be connected already to people who are working in the companies that you want to work at that could possibly make an introduction for you. So we start with why you're using LinkedIn. And then we talk about what your profile is. And your profile really is your person.
I'm just gonna
Sure.
interrupt because it's very important that we set this up right. That LinkedIn is a professional online platform. So it's not TikTok, right? It's not
Yes.
Insta, it's not Facebook. Even though Facebook can have some elements of business, etc., but it is really a professional platform, and I really want to emphasize that in terms of understanding what you post and, more importantly, how you post it, right? And
Right, as well as how you present yourself.
And how you present yourself as well, because you know, we know that impressions are formed within seconds, right? Under 10 seconds, impressions are being formed of yourself as an individual or your organization. So it starts with having the bones right and being very clear about why you're on this platform to begin with. So for maybe the younger generation that is moving over from Insta or TikTok, etc., you may see a little bit of, you could see that transition, just kind of learning how to make that transition. So to a professional website. So I really, really want to be clear about that, because so many times when I'm working with clients, I have to direct them in terms of what needs to be done to make sure that their profile is aligned with the message that they want to send to prospective employers or to their peers and colleagues, and make sure that that is consistent with their values. So
Yeah,
I really,
absolutely.
really jump into that.
Absolutely. So Facebook, Insta, TikTok, X or Twitter or whatever they're calling it this week, those mainly can serve both purposes. Like I have a Facebook business page. I do some business there. But I share a lot more personal stuff there. LinkedIn is strictly business to business. People are on there for business purposes. And so, and that's why you have a smaller group. Like, so I don't know what the numbers are of how many people in Bermuda have a Facebook profile. It's probably more than 48,000. All right. But the thing is, with LinkedIn, you're finding people that are strictly there just for business. And so that makes it, while it may be a smaller pool of people, they're a more engaged pool of people. So very good point. And so let me share my screen. And we've got share, we got that. Let's
Yeah,
do
we want to
that.
make it very practical. So I think Bill is going to use me as the guinea pig. So
I'm going to do that. So are you all, somebody give me a thumbs up if you're seeing Lorene's fantastic profile there. Okay, great. And I can say it's a fantastic profile because I helped her do it.
that's right. I got
So let's start by talking, and I'm gonna use some annotation here. So this square, rectangle, whatever that is, right there, we call that above the fold, right? So if you think about newspaper parlance, right? So above the fold is the top half of a newspaper, the top half of the front page of the newspaper. The biggest story of the day shows up there because the publishers and the editors want people to buy the newspaper. They want them to read the newspaper. That's what this section is, because it's what people see first. I mean, look how big that all is. And so what you want to do, remember, we're talking about creating a professional brand. And I did about a year ago, I did just not an unofficial poll of some HR professionals. And I just asked them, hey, when you're looking at candidates, when you receive an application or a resume or an inquiry, how often do you go and look at the candidate's LinkedIn profile, Facebook profile, Insta? And they all said they do. And LinkedIn 100%, they say sometimes look at the others. But listen, your reputation precedes you, not only in what you write down in your on your resume, but what you show here on this page, because this becomes your personal landing page, right? So you want to make sure that you're presenting yourself in a professional way. So the first thing is your imagery. So that encompasses what we call the background banner image, which is that large rectangle there, and then your profile picture. Canva.com is a great place to create a background banner image. You can just, if you're job searching and job hunting, especially if you're in Bermuda and you want a job in Bermuda, creating a background banner image that shows that you're in Bermuda definitely works. Canva has a bunch. Just don't leave this blank. But
That's
also notice.
Sorry, Bill.
Yeah.
I'm trying to make sure we hit on certain things.
Yep.
The banner is a very important part of your branding. So if you are an entrepreneur, this is an opportunity for you to showcase your company logo, et cetera, et cetera. If you work for an organization, this is an opportunity for you to showcase that. So Bonnie,
Yes.
for BPlus, this is where you have all the branding and all the logos and website details, etc., that is there. So this is a beautiful opportunity to advertise who you are and what you're about. So like Bill said, don't just skip over the banner. It's a very important part. And it's interesting because I look at some people's LinkedIn and they're very, very senior and very experienced, and they'll have a generic brand, which is that kind of a pale bluey color. So take the time to personalize it. And we can put, if no one knows what Canva is, we can put a link in the chat. But Canva is amazing in helping you to create those beautiful banners. Okay.
And I'll show you really quick what it looks like if you don't have one. Okay, and this is a gentleman I just connected with who's in Bermuda. So this is what it looks like.
Yes.
That's LinkedIn standard. Okay. And some people don't know that they can do it. So what I say is have something there, right? Brand yourself. This is like a billboard. Notice that Lorene has her email address there, right? So put some contact information there so that you make it easier for people to find you. This stands out. This catches people's attention. Next is the profile picture. So you notice that Lorene has a, whoops, sorry. I'm trying to do a couple of things at once here. I want to get the annotate back. There we go. Notice that Lorene has a professional headshot. She paid a photographer to do this. You may not be in a position where you can afford that. Your phone takes really great pictures. I think my first digital camera was like 4 megapixels. This is an 18 or 12, I don't remember, megapixel camera. It's a good camera. Just don't do the, selfie thing. Don't try to do this. Have someone take the picture.
Right, Bill? Get a friend.
Yeah. Get a plan.
Nice lighting. Put your camera into portrait. Dress professionally. Get a good shot from here up. Lighting is everything. Take a couple of pictures. Pick the one that you think really looks like you, one that reflects your personality. And remember, again, it's a professional platform, so the picture should be professional looking. Okay.
Right.
We have to say that over and over.
Yeah. You don't know how many times I see people who have a picture of them at a networking event and their arms are draped over a couple of their friends. And here's the thing. If I don't know you, I don't know which one of those people is you. Right. So don't have a picture that's that confusing. Have it be a headshot. Have your spouse or your partner or a friend take it for you. A neutral background. You notice that Lorene has a neutral background there. If I didn't have the Huddle background, you'd see I have a branded background behind me that I do for all of my calls. I wouldn't use that because it's distracting. I would go stand against a white wall or a brown wall, and I would have somebody take it. Smile, convey trust. You want this to be a good representation of yourself. Just like you wouldn't go into a job interview without having done your hair or makeup, or men having shaved and looking your best. Think of it like that. You don't get a second chance to make a good first impression. And many times this is the first time that a hiring manager is going to see you is your profile picture. So make sure that stands out.
And
if you
make sure that it's current, right, Bill? Make sure that your image is current.
So yeah,
I'm gonna say that because I've seen, Bill, I've had this happen to me. I've gone on LinkedIn, I've looked at the image, and when I finally meet the person, it's a picture that's 20 years old. So in all candor, I really want to know who I'm meeting. So if you need to update your picture because you have a new hairdo or things have changed, we've all matured, please do that so that the recruiter or the hiring manager or the person you're meeting for coffee will identify you pretty much when they see you. Okay. So I just thought I would mention.
Absolutely. And you couldn't have said any better. I've met people like during COVID, I would meet guys that had this beautiful headshot, they're all clean shaven, they're in a suit, and they're on the Zoom camera and they're full beard, hair's in a ponytail, in a hoodie. And I'm like, do I have the right person? And that's a little extreme, but yeah, if you do major changes, like if I suddenly decided I wasn't going to have glasses anymore and I was going to do contacts, I would probably get a new headshot, right? Because I want to be a good representation, right? So very, very, very good point. Your name. Okay. So you notice that Lorene has some accreditations there. If you have professional accreditations, you can put that there, but you can't put don't put emojis in your name field. It actually violates LinkedIn's terms of use and can have your profile shut down. But put your professional name, the name that people know you by. So my official name is William McCormick. If somebody calls me William, I know I'm probably in trouble, right? I'm usually either called Bill by my immediate family and friends, or if you meet my brothers who are older than me, they call me Billy. That's how I know if how somebody knows me. If they call me Billy, they know me through my family. And if they call me Bill, they know me in other ways. So put the name there that you're recognized. If you want to add so my wife's name is Susan, but she goes by Sue. So she actually has Sue and then in parentheses Susan. You can do that, right? But what you want to do is you want to be recognized. You want them to be easily recognized. Now, I'm just looking at through the I can't see all the members, but is there anyone on the call that has a name that's hard to pronounce, that gets mispronounced all the time? I can only see a few people,
I'm gonna
but
scroll down. Yeah, I did a session recently with a young lady whose name, it started with X, but it was a Z sound. And
yeah,
so every time she was introducing herself, she was stumbling. I'm going down looking. She was stumbling. People don't have their full names on their Zoom.
yeah, and that's okay.
I ask people to put their full names. And I was talking to her about being able to, I think does LinkedIn have a feature where you can say how your name is sound, right, Bill?
It does, yes.
Yeah.
It's called name pronunciation. Now, Lorene doesn't have it on her profile, but I do here. So you notice this speaker right here. So if I click on it, you should be able to hear it. Tell me if you can hear this. Oh, hold on. Once I click it, it's got to come up here, and then I've got to share it.
Bill McCormick, helping
hear
you
that?
leverage LinkedIn like a human.
Were you able to hear that?
Yes,
Okay.
I heard
So
it. Yes.
yes. So you have 10 seconds, right? In the resources, there's actually a video on how you can add this to your profile. You can only add it to your profile on your mobile device, right? On the LinkedIn mobile app. But once you add it there, it'll show up on your desktop
That's a good
profile
point,
also.
Bill. That's a good point, Bill, because there are some features that are better or can only be added on your phone, and then it will appear on your PC, etc. Right?
Yeah, that's the only one right
Yes.
now. They used to have something called profile video. They took that away, but the
Oh, they
name
did. Okay.
pronunciation, you can only add on your on your
Phone
um
app.
on your
Right.
phone. And
Okay, so
so
everyone should download the LinkedIn app on their phone, basically, as
yes,
well. Yeah.
yes, and have that. And you have 10 seconds, make sure you speak and say it. If you notice, I spoke a little slow because you want to enunciate your name, right? So that's just helping the people who are looking at your profile. So the next thing to talk about quickly is this area right underneath Lorene's name, right here, the what we call the headline. She has helping global organizations craft training and coaching solutions to accelerate their success. Now, for you, especially if you're looking for a job, what you want to do here is when somebody looks at this, they want to identify that you're looking for work in the area that you're in. So, if let's say you're an HR professional and you're looking to change career, you're looking to change companies, human resource professional with what skills do you have? What do you excel at? Right? You want this to be descriptive so that when somebody reads it, they get a real quick sense of who you are and why you're using LinkedIn. Right. So when I work with salespeople, I tell them all the time, what you want to do is talk about who you help. Right. So you can see who Lorene helps. She helps global organizations. And how does she help them? She helps them craft training, coaching solutions. But for you in looking for work, what you want to do is put your strengths out there. You want to talk about what the value that you can bring to a company or to an organization. And if
I
you're
like
already
that.
and if
I
you're
like
already providing that value, then you know. And if you're looking for work, if you're a recent graduate, you can put that in there. Recent graduate of nursing, looking for work in the healthcare field or in the respiratory illness field, or if you have some special area. What this does is it allows the recruiters, the HR people, to get a quick look at, okay, yes, that we're looking for somebody like that.
Okay, so I'm gonna just stop for, because that's a lot of
Yep.
good information that I just want to slow down a bit on. So many people, when they set their LinkedIn profile up, they'll just have their name and they have their position, which in short really says nothing about what it is that you do. I found this when I was creating this bill, and if you remember, I played around with this for weeks to get it to say
Yeah.
exactly what it is that I felt was accurate and on point. You have so many characters that you can use, so you have to be very, very succinct with this part of the real estate of your LinkedIn profile. But I would say go slow to go fast. Get this part right, because this is where opportunities will come. Recently, I had someone reached out to me from overseas, and it's because they did a search on LinkedIn and it pulled up etiquette consultant. And I will be doing some work with them tomorrow, someone I've never worked with before, because they went on my LinkedIn profile and they were able to pull those keywords up. So it's very, very important, the words that you're using in your description, to make sure that when they search, that you will be selected and highlighted. So it's not okay just to put your name or just to put your title. Okay, so if you have that, I want you to, that's your homework. Write it down on the notepad that you are going to go in and talk a little bit about your value proposition, what you want, and who you're going, the people you serve if you're an entrepreneur. Bill, I wanted to ask you a little bit about when you're creating this particular profile, what are some of the things that you should stay away from? Like, what are some of the mistakes that people make when they're putting together this very important front page?
Great question. Let me just back just a little bit. So I got a 220 written there. That space there, that headline, you 220 characters with spaces. And I think Lorene is kind of right there. She's like right at the 220 mark. And this is keyword searchable. That's why that person found you, because you have etiquette right there. So when they did a search up in this area, so when someone's searching for someone who has the skills that you have, if you have them in your headline, they're going to find you. So think about that, right, when you're writing that. And also notice she has Supermom here. You should have something personal.
You pushed me on that one, because I was like, oh, that's not important. And Bill was like, people want to know about the things that you love and what you're passionate about. So don't be afraid to share that part of yourself. So thanks for saying that, Bill.
We're not just corporate robots and beings, right? We're not just entrepreneurs. We're not just students. We're full humans. We have a full life. And while LinkedIn is a business site, people want to know that they're hiring or do business with real people. So what can you put there that's a little bit about yourself? I think I have dog lover because I've got 2 dogs and I love my dogs. So what can you put there for that? But here's some of the things you shouldn't do. Up in this section, I wouldn't put crazy things that boast about yourself. Like if you had a 4.0 GPA in school, nobody cares. I mean, maybe they'll care, maybe somebody hiring, but that seems boastful to me, right? You want to practice some humility here. Don't be boastful. I'm very leery when I see people who are in a sales position that put in this area here, they put, these millions of dollars in sales, or how much that they've saved companies, millions of dollars or hundreds of thousands of dollars. That seems boastful to me, and I tend to not believe it, right? So you want to be authentic and true and genuine to who you are.
Yeah.
So that's very important.
Right, Bill. So people do business with people they know, like, and trust. And this is a document that should align with those elements, right?
Right. So I love that you use the Bob Burr quote and know, like, and trust. And so somebody, I think Brian put in here that how it's more difficult to network virtually than it is in real life. And, there's pros and cons to everything. And so people often ask me, well, how can people get to know, like, and trust me just from my LinkedIn profile? Well, by setting it up the right way and showing the value, they get to know you. By putting something personal in there, they get to know you. and they can get to like and trust you. You can show some credibility. But what it does is it leads to the next step, and you want the next step to be an interview or a job call, a phone call, where you can then begin to say the things that you're saying here. And one of the things Lorene said is that she took some time to work on this. This is a living document, and it changes. As you change jobs, as your values change, as your family changes, you can change parts of this document. I'm probably on my fourth or fifth headline in the last 2 years because I went through multiple changes in my life. So it can change. What you want it to do is to reflect who you really are right at this moment for the reason that you're using LinkedIn.
That's it.
Right.
Reflects who you are at the moment and what it is that you want to achieve in the future. So for those that are looking for a new job or transitioning into a new career or taking a bold step in a new area, this is the time to refresh your LinkedIn to reflect where you want to go so that people can see. Like I have a good colleague and friend who started a business and was doing really, really well. But his LinkedIn profile was his profile from his last job 10 years ago. And I had to challenge him about that. So it's like, let people know where you're going so you can take your network with you. All right. So as we go on, now, is your LinkedIn supposed to be a regurgitation of your CV or resume, Bill?
No, it really shouldn't be. You can load your resume onto LinkedIn if you would like to do that. But what happens is this about section that I'm on now. This is where people really go full hog and talking about that's a Southern United States term, full hog. It means they go all out in talking about themselves and how great they are at what they do. And for job seekers, you're putting down your strengths, and maybe you're putting your some of your designations that you have. So for the most part, when people read that, it's going to be just like Lorene said, stuff that you've already said in your resume. What I would say here is tell your story. Why are you passionate about the field that you're in? What led you to that? And by telling your story here, you can work in your strengths. You can work in the value. If you're already working or you've done an internship, ask your supervisors, ask the people that you reported to, hey, what was the value that I brought to you in my role as whatever it is you've done, right? Even if it's a different role, the value you bring will probably be the same. And you can speak to that here. You can talk about the value that you brought. Tell a story. People love to read stories, right?
Right.
You have,
I love that
and
because when we were working on this one again, I struggled because I'm like, what should I say? And so it takes work and it takes time to do this, but when you get it right, it's something that you'll be really proud of. And I know the characters are also limited in this section, and so that's the amount of characters that you can have in that section. Again,
yeah,
real estate, so use it really, really well. So what about building your network? And like I follow different groups, I follow different organizations. So I recommend to individuals, if there's a particular company or companies that you are interested in, you can follow them. Follow those
yes,
individuals and find out what's going on. Follow those companies. You'll get alerts when things are happening as well. But there are also different groups as well on LinkedIn that you can form. I guess to Brian's question about being in a virtual space, you can network specifically within groups that are aligned and alike or similar or in an area where you would like to go. So you can get invited to events, to LinkedIn Live events, and all the different activities that LinkedIn puts on through different groups. So we know we're going to be in this hybrid workplace forever. That's just the norm of working. Is there anything in particular that we should make sure that we have available on our LinkedIn profile to make sure that we are maximizing our networking span in the virtual? And don't forget to mention something about recruiting. Does everybody see when you select that you're looking for a job? Because Bermuda is a small place. Not everybody wants everybody to know they're looking for a job. Is there a
so
feature that you can use to do that without everybody seeing it?
yeah, so no, not so that so you can do it so everybody sees it. or
Okay.
that no one sees it, right? So you can on your profile put that you're open to work. Another thing that I didn't mention was in your profile picture, you see they have these frames here. If you
Yeah.
click a frame, you can do an open to work frame.
Ah,
And then your profile will come up with the hashtag open to
yes.
work,
Okay.
right? So many people like, well, how can I have just some people see that? Not everyone. It's either everyone or no one, right?
Okay.
So if
All
you're
right. Thanks for
working at a
clearing that
job
up.
right now,
Yeah.
if you're working a job right now and you want to change, but you don't know don't want your supervisor to find out, that's going to be a bit difficult.
Okay.
But in terms of networking, so LinkedIn is a networking room with 1 billion users, 48,000 in Bermuda. And so groups are great. So if we just do Bermuda and we click on that, we're going to get lots of different things. We get people, we get posts, but we go over here in this and click groups. We see there's a Bermuda Bankers Association, Bermuda Opportunities, Bermuda Insurance Claims and Underwriting. There are 199 groups that have Bermuda in their name, right? So you can join these groups. Some might be, you may have to be approved. These are great opportunities. The problem with groups is you're not always notified when there's been new posts, and LinkedIn's not done a good job with it. So it's something you have to go visit on a regular basis. So let's just look at Bermuda opportunities real quick. So once you join, so I wouldn't be able to see anything. So if any of you know Malika or Marissa, so they both are with Expertise Group, which is a recruiting. So that's going to be, they're managing it. And so because they're a recruiting company, it could be heavily swayed by what they're doing. So you can do groups. Another thing you can do in terms of networking is find out who do you know that either works in a company you want to get into or is, knows people that you might want to know, right? And so one of the things I'll do is in the resources, I'll also put a video on how you can download your first degree connections. You can download all of your connections that you've already made on LinkedIn. It'll come to you in an Excel spreadsheet. So I'll put a video in there to show you how to do that. But I'm going to show you just now how you can search for people on LinkedIn. So if I click in the search bar and then I click enter or return, it opens up the full search window for LinkedIn. And what I want to do is go over here to all filters. And you notice that it's already selected to people. And so first degree, second degree, so first degree are people you're connected to. Second degree are people who you're not connected to, but somebody you're connected to is connected with them. So I'm going to click second degree. I'm going to do a location of Bermuda. And then let's say you want to get into the financial services, let's say human resources. You want to get into the human resources sector in Bermuda somewhere. So under industry, I'm going to select human resources. I'm going to click show results. I have 72 people who know someone I'm connected to, right? And so so here's the magic here. You see these people here. So Amy Greenslade, there's 33 people I'm connected that I'm connected to that are connected to Amy. So let's say Amy works at a company that I want to work at. I can look at these people I'm connected with and say, okay, who do I know? So I know Colleen real well. I could reach out to Colleen and say, hey, I see that you know Amy Greenslade at XYZ company.
Yeah. Can you make an introduction? Yeah.
Can you make an introduction, right?
Yeah.
This is really magic.
Yeah. And I find it, yeah, thank you, Bill. Sorry. I find it really, really useful. So if you're an entrepreneur, if there are entrepreneurs on the line or you're leading an organization and you're looking at business development, this is a fantastic tool to have because you're really getting to drill down on kind of who you know, and you'd be surprised who you know and who knows who. And then for those that are looking for jobs, you can be more specific around, like if you're looking for a job in HR, you're looking for a job in insurance or reinsurance, you would be surprised who is already connected to you as a first contact. And then when you look at their names, you're going to see who they know that work for these organizations. So I want you to really make a note of that. And Bill, we're going to just stop sharing for a minute and put that link in for the video so that one can have that. And we're just going to keep talking a little bit about posting, right? So when individuals are looking at creating a post or making a post in LinkedIn, what are some of the activities that they can do to increase their visibility and traction on the LinkedIn profile?
So posting is a whole other animal, so to speak. And we can really get lost in the weeds here. But here's the thing about posting. You want to share content that's relevant for your reason being on LinkedIn, right? So I'm in sales. I train people how to better use LinkedIn, specifically sales teams. So my content is always geared at educating people about that, not selling them.
Yeah.
As a person who's looking for a job, what you want to do is bring forth content that highlights your values, highlights other people's content, right? So there's creating content, and that's making content up yourself, but then there's curating content. Curating means we go out and we find content and we reuse it, giving the original people credit for it, right? We don't want to plagiarize, but then also adding your own opinions there. So, for example, Lorene shares a great post maybe about better time management skills. You read through the post and you learn, wow, this was really good. Here are my takeaways. You reshare that post with your own thoughts. Like, really, really enjoyed reading this post by Lorene Phillips. My main takeaways were X, Y, and Z, but I'd be interested to know from you what you got out of it and sharing that. Okay. That shows people that you're really ingesting material and that you have your own opinions, right? You're just not resharing other people's stuff.
Right. So let's talk about, okay. And I'm going to build on that. If you can stop
Good.
sharing the screen for a minute.
Okay,
So
sure.
what you said there is really engaging with the material itself, the actual post, as opposed to just doing a like, right?
Correct.
Actually going in and making a comment or adding your perspective or sharing a thought. Those are the things that really help to amplify your profile on LinkedIn.
Yes.
So just going in and just clicking like, et cetera, is not enough to increase your visibility and traction on LinkedIn. So what I do as an entrepreneur and even as a professional when I was working in the corporate world, and you can consider this, is just set aside 5 to 10 minutes a day and just go onto the platform and interact with it. So even if you just, interact with 3 or 4 posts, or something like that, that's fine. But do it frequently and make that a part of your professionalism, of the way that you work, of the way that you interact. And certainly if you're an entrepreneur and your clients are mainly on LinkedIn like mine are, then being on LinkedIn is something I do on a daily basis, but I'm not on it all the time. I decide what time of the day that I'm going to be on. So I really want people to start interacting with it and not just surfing, but actually interacting with the material. There's some people too that I follow who have really great articles, or they're in similar business, or maybe they work in business that has synergies with mine, and I follow them as well. So don't be afraid to follow people as well. And LinkedIn Learning, I want to talk about that for a second. So LinkedIn Learning, is that available to everyone on the LinkedIn platform regardless, or do they need to be a Prime?
You have to have some level of premium. You can purchase. I don't know what the
level.
So you have to pay for a subscription to
Yes.
LinkedIn
So
Learning.
the premium level is how much again, Bill?
I'm sorry. So it really depends. There's different levels. So I deal mainly with people in sales. So I deal with business premium or sales navigator, which that starts at about $70 a month. It is rather expensive. There is a lower job searching kind of premium that's in the $30 to $40 range. It doesn't give you as many features, but you do get access to LinkedIn Learning for that.
Right. So for those that are willing to invest in themselves, for under $40 or whatever a month, it is worth it because you get access to amazing training, from interview skills to, how to design PowerPoints, to soft skills training. It goes on and on and on. You can actually be up leveling your skills while you are job searching or looking to transition and find really, really great hands-on, current, and relevant training. So I wanted to mention LinkedIn Learning as another aspect of LinkedIn that you can tap into for your own career development. All right,
Yes,
Bill?
and Tamika made a great point in the chat that there are
Yeah.
some companies that have purchased access to
Purchase
LinkedIn
it,
Learning
yes.
for their employees. So check with your HR, your marketing people, and ask them. And you know, there is a lot of great stuff in LinkedIn Learning.
Oh, before I forget, I gotta ask this question because you know how my brain works. Should you have a LinkedIn profile that is yours personally, or should you have a LinkedIn profile that is your company's? And if so, why?
Yeah. So there's personal profiles and company profiles. Okay, they're different. If you're a solopreneur, business owner, entrepreneur, you should have a personal profile and a company profile. If you work for another company, you should have you have your personal profile, but you should be connected to the company profile in your experience section. You should list them as your employer and make sure that their logo shows up next to your name.
Okay,
You know,
thank you for that. I'm gonna tell you why I'm asking this question. I already knew the answer, but I'm asking this question because I want you to know that when you have your LinkedIn, it should be personal, because if you leave an organization, you're going to take that data with you. Your LinkedIn profile should follow you. If not, if it's under the company banner and the company said that's their data, your contacts that you developed on that site becomes theirs. And so you have to start all over from scratch. So just a tip, make sure that your profile is yours personally. It will have the company logo if you want to do that, et cetera, but that data should be yours. You keep that data. Your network goes with you wherever you go. Okay.
yeah.
You can
So
the email address of the company. You can and Bill, you're right. When you put the name of the company, the logo is going to come up anyhow.
right.
So
Right.
like Current and Molly's comes up with its own logo, etc. So there is a branding there for the company. And you can have both. You can have a corporate LinkedIn, but really make sure that you're managing your personal LinkedIn. And I cannot stress that enough. You
Yes.
work really hard to create that network. You want to make sure that is yours. It's like back in the day, Bill, when we used to have Rolodex. I don't know if anybody's on the call who remember Rolodexes. Okay.
Probably a couple of us.
Probably a couple of us. I'm
Yeah.
dating myself here. Brian is laughing, and I see Wanda. What I used to do was I would pick up my Rolodex, guys, when I'm leaving, and I walked out with my Rolodex.
Right.
Because
Yeah.
I worked really hard as an underwriter to develop my network, and I want my contacts. Back in the day, all the emails were gone. You know, they shut you down. So my point is, your network is like your LinkedIn is like your Rolodex online. So make sure that you're curating it, that you're nurturing it, that you're cultivating it, that you're paying attention to it, so that as you move, as you transition, it's moving and growing with you. I hope this is connected, because it can be a nightmare if that's not the case.
And let me make so my friend Eugene asked a great question in the chat about using your company email address versus your personal one. And my thinking has actually changed on this. I used to say, you know, you should always be connected to your work email. But then what happened was some folks in Bermuda switched jobs and they forgot to switch their email and they lost access to their account. So here's what I say. For your access to your account, how you sign in, pick a professional personal email address. In other words, a Gmail, a Hotmail, an Outlook. That's professional, not Island Girl 420. Okay, unless you're in the CBD business. Pick a professional email and use that as your primary email for accessing LinkedIn. But remember that Lorene had her email address up in her banner image. Put your work email address, the one that you want people to contact you at for the reason you're using LinkedIn. Put that in your banner image. Put that in your about section and in your experience section. Because listen, you have a contact info spot on your profile. Most people don't know it's there, and it's someplace else in the mobile version of LinkedIn, so people don't know where to find it. If you put it on your profile, that's where they'll find you to contact you. So I would say have a personal email address so you don't lose access. Because what happens is if you have your business email address affiliated with your LinkedIn account, you leave that company, you go to work for another company, you go to log into LinkedIn and you can't access it because you don't have access to your old email address.
Right.
And
That's
we
right.
know some people, and it can take weeks to get this straightened out with LinkedIn. LinkedIn help is not very helpful.
Yes, and remember, if you leave an organization, they are not, you know, obligated or maybe even want to make it easy for you to get access. So
No,
these are little tips to
definitely.
be aware of. Okay,
Definitely.
we have a few minutes remaining. Any questions? We've shared a ton of information, okay, to get you started, some things to think about. Bill, you can drop your contact details. It's already in the chat, so reach out to Bill. Anyone want to connect with me? Simone, if you can drop my LinkedIn as well on the chat, you can connect with me. Hopefully everyone will connect. Are there any questions? You can either come off mic or you can pop it in the chat.
So there's already two in the chat. Wander asks, as an entrepreneur, could one use just the logo in the personal, or is it only preferred to separate company or personal? So you want to always use your headshot, your picture for your personal profile. Okay. If you have a company page, you would put your logo there and want to. So I'm not sure if I understand your question, but listen, in the resources, everyone's entitled to a complimentary 30-minute call with me where I'll give you some feedback in your profile. So please take me up on that. And Brian asked about the connection limit. So no one really knows the connection limit. Yeah, they say it's about 100 per week. Yeah, I believe it's per week. It changes all the time. And here's the thing: if you're sending out more than 100 connection requests a week, then you're probably not doing quality connections. But it's actually a kind of a ratio between what you have outstanding already. Here's the thing: I wouldn't do more than 2 to 3 connection requests a day. Okay. I would really keep it at that. Bill mentioned
I agree with that. I agree with that. You don't really want to be peppering people like nonstop. You want to
yeah.
pace
So
yourself.
Sarah asked about downloading first degree connections. I'm going to put a how-to, a video instructional on how to do that in the resources. So I'll drop it in again. So in that resource link right here. Oh, you can't see it. I'm looking at the chat.
I can see it. No, I can see
Okay,
it.
so if you click on that later today, you just go visit that. You'll see I'll do a video on how to do that.
I love that. I
download
think that's a
first-degree
game. I
connections.
think that's a game changer, you guys. That's a game changer, knowing who you're connected to. Also, MC, thank you so much. MC said he's gonna start putting his LinkedIn profile together. Any comments or feedback? Now is a great time. We'd love to hear from you.
You guys hit a lot of good pieces, and I think this was well worthwhile. I've enjoyed it, and I've learned a lot. And you gave a couple of to-dos. So, Bill, I will be calling you. But thank you.
Please
Thank you
do
both.
that. You're welcome.
Excellent.
You're welcome.
Excellent. Anybody else would like to share? Has this been helpful to you? Yeah?
Hi, Bill. Hi, Lorraine.
Hi,
So I
Corinne.
really enjoyed the presentation. I would just like to query about someone who's career shifting. You spoke a lot about your introductory page. It's kind of sticky for someone, I don't know, maybe from my experience, someone could transitioning and you don't really have those experiences as of yet. So what will I put in that?
So go to the resources and schedule a call with me, because there's a lot of questions to ask about what you're transitioning from and to. And what I would do is look for some overlap of what we could put in the headline about the value that you bring. So that's what I would pull out, is that. Right. So schedule a call with me, and I'd be happy to help you do that.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
You're welcome.
Thank you, guys. Some wonderful feedback in the chat as well. If you scan the QR code that's there, I've just put together kind of a cheat sheet. I'm not sure, Bill, if you can see it. I talk a little bit about making sure that your headline states your current career mission, using active words, recommendations. We didn't talk about that, but don't shy away from asking people to make recommendations or to write a referral, a recommendation on LinkedIn. So if Bonnie's still on the line, you can get all the students, Bonnie, to go onto BFAS and they can website and LinkedIn page, and they can really share different testimonials, etc. Those are great ways to show the value that you're adding. And also check spelling and grammar and stuff, all that good stuff, right? Just make sure that you're paying attention to that. So if you scan that QR code, you will get a copy of that particular resource that can support you. And if you're interested in support in creating that winnable CV or resume and or LinkedIn, be sure to reach out to us as well, and we'll be happy to support you and to make sure that you are on track and that you are separating yourself from the competition. We have a couple of events coming up. You can again scan there. Follow me on LinkedIn, right, Bill, and you'll see what I'm up to. You'll see what I'm up to and the things that are going on. So it's really a lot about how we can just make sure that we are staying in contact, that we are leveraging this particular platform so that we can not just network, but we can find the next best opportunity while we build our brand in a way that reflects us and reflects our uniqueness and our unique value proposition. Bill, thank you so much for being here, and for everyone for attending and for participating and for your questions and your feedback. Thank you so very much. And until we see you at the next huddle, have a wonderful afternoon. Take care. Bye.
Everyone, thanks so much.
You're welcome. Bye.